So you're thinking about getting into beekeeping. That is awesome. It's so much more than just getting honey, you know? It's this incredible way to connect with the world around you. But let's be real, getting started can feel a little daunting. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to break it all down, step by step, and get you ready. All right, so are you ready to jump in? To take that little bit of curiosity and turn it into your very own buzzing, thriving apiary? Perfect. We're going to walk through all the must-knows to get you started off on the right foot, feeling totally confident. Let's do this. Okay, so here's our game plan. We've got 5 key steps. First, you've got to do your homework. Then the fun part, choosing your bees and getting your starter kit. We'll also talk about the real-world stuff, time, effort, and where to put them. And we'll wrap up with, honestly, probably the single best piece of advice you're going to get as a beginner. All right, first up, doing your homework. And look, I get it. It's so tempting to just start shopping for those cute little bee suits and hives, right? But hold on. The most important thing you can do first has absolutely nothing to do with buying stuff. It's all about learning. Seriously, a successful apiary starts in your head, not in a catalog. So what does this homework phase actually look like? Well, think of it as 4 key things. You've got to educate yourself, the basics. Then you really need to try to get your hands dirty, see what it feels like. Next, find your people. Join the local beekeeping community. And the holy grail, find a mentor who can show you the ropes. And I can't stress this enough. Building this foundation it's non-negotiable. Grab a couple of good books. See if there's a local class you can take. You really want to get your head around how a colony works, what makes it tick. Trust me, the time you put in now is going to save you so much headache and probably some money down the road. Okay, so you've hit the books, you've done the research. Now we get to the really, really exciting part. Actually getting your bees. So let's talk about how you're going to get your very first colony. So right off the bat, you've got a big decision to make. Think of it like this. You can either buy a package of bees, which is pretty much what it sounds like, a box of bees and a queen, or you can buy a nuke. The package is cheaper, for sure, but it's harder to get started. The nuke, on the other hand, is like a little starter home that's already up and running. It costs more, but man, it really boosts your chances of success. Let's dive a little deeper into what a nuke actually is, because you're going to hear that term a lot. It's short for nucleus colony. And it's not just a random bunch of bees. It's a small, working, established colony. You get a queen who's already laying eggs, you get frames with brood, that's the baby bees, and they even come with their own pantry of honey and pollen. It's a massive head start for your new hive. Okay, here is a super important pro tip. You can't just decide you want bees in April and go pick them up. It doesn't work like that. You have to plan ahead. The suppliers sell out crazy fast. So you need to be placing your order in the fall to get your bees delivered the next spring. That timing is absolutely key to getting them settled in and thriving. All right, you've got a plan for getting your bees. Let's switch gears and talk about the stuff. The actual equipment you'll need, and of course, what it's going to cost to get set up. Okay, let's just get right to it. The money. To set up a proper, sustainable little apiary, and we'll talk about why you want more than one hive in a bit, you're probably looking at a budget somewhere in this ballpark. I know, that might look like a big number, but that's for the whole shebang. Let's break it down for just one hive so you can see where that money actually goes. So if we just look at one hive to start, it's way more manageable. You've got the cost of the hive itself and the bees. Then your protective gear, super important, and then some basic gear for when you eventually get some honey. So yeah, you can see you can definitely get your foot in the door for under $1,000. Now, once you start thinking about that 2-hive rule we're going to talk about, plus a few extra supplies, you can see how it starts to add up to that bigger number we just looked at. Now, let's talk about your gear, specifically the stuff that keeps you from getting stung. Because, let's be honest, it's not if you'll get stung, it's when. So this is not where you want to cut corners. A veil to protect your face? That's an absolute must-have, no question. A full suit or coveralls, gloves that fit well, and some good boots. All of this stuff just gives you the confidence to move slowly and calmly around your bees, which is exactly what you want. And then there are the tools for the bees themselves. This is your basic toolkit. You've got your hive tool, which is basically a mini crowbar for prying things apart, a smoker to help keep the bees calm, then the hive itself, the boxes, the frames that go inside them, and a feeder, just in case they need a little help with food. Okay, so we've covered the bees and the gear. But beekeeping isn't just about what you buy. It's an investment of your time and, yeah, some physical work, too. And where you decide to put your hive. That's a huge decision. one of the most important you'll make, actually. So, how much time does this actually take? Well, it totally depends on the season. It's not a constant thing. As you can see, spring is your busy season. The colony is exploding in size, so you're in there checking things out pretty much every week. Then, during the summer honey flow, you can back off of it, maybe every couple of weeks. And in the off season, your workload drops way, way down. And speaking of work, we need to talk about the physical part. That number you see, that's what a single box, one of those supers, can weigh when it's full of honey. Yep, over 50 pounds. So just know, this isn't a sit-on-the-sidelines hobby. You're going to be doing some heavy lifting. So, about that perfect spot for your hive. It really is a game of location, location, location. Here's your checklist for their perfect home. You want morning sun to get them up and going. You need some shelter from strong winds. They need a constant clean source of water nearby. And of course, you want it on level ground, and definitely away from anywhere people, pets, or kids are walking around a lot. All right, we are at our final section. And listen up, because this might be the single most important, most valuable piece of advice you will ever get as a new beekeeper. Seriously. So here it is, the big question every beginner asks. Should I start with one hive or should I get two? I mean, common sense says to just start with one, right? Keep it simple, learn the ropes. Well, common sense is wrong on this one. The answer from pretty much every experienced beekeeper on the planet is a resounding two. You should always start with two. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but here's why it's so important. First, it lets you compare. You can see what normal looks like. Is one hive buzzing and the other is quiet? Now you know something might be up. But even more critical is this. If one hive gets into trouble, say it loses its queen, you can take a frame of eggs from your strong hive and use it to save the weak one. It's like having a built-in insurance policy. It literally doubles your chances of success. I love this way of thinking about it. Imagine each hive is like a really complex book. Starting with two is like having two copies to compare. When you get to a confusing part in one, you can look at the other to figure out what's going on, to understand the language of the bees, and to help keep their story going. It's a beautiful way to look at it, isn't it?